playing a Pure Steel Paladin Invisible Stalker equipment deck. Okay. And then on the left-hand side, Quinn Kennedy playing the deck if you've been following this tournament so far, the whole day today, the deck that's been getting just beat up round after round, which has been Black-Red Zombies.
Okay, so Zombies has been losing.
A lot. A lot of that has to do with the amount of birthing pod that's been going on, but so a Blackcleave Cliffs and a Diregraph Ghoul from Kennedy. Very important for the zombie deck to start off with both colors of mana, because the colored mana situation in the deck is not very good.
You need that triple black on turn 3 for...
Yeah, you need triple black, and you need red mana, and you need red mana at some point too to cast your various Brimstone Volleys. And although it appears that his only red cards in here are 3 Brimstone Volleys and 3 Aristocrat, so he's alleviated the mana a little bit by just not having that many red cards.
So Jesse Roberts played a Seachrome Coast on turn 1 and pondered. He looked at 3 cards, kept them on top, and drew 1. He passed back Quinn Kennedy, played a Swamp, attacked for 2, and then loaded up with another Diregraph Ghoul.
Nexus, and as a Flare Husk.
Gonna get a Germ token here. Flare Husk, didn't you play Scars Limited? I love that card.
Yep. Pretty important to have a density of equipment once you have Pure Steel Paladin in your deck. So, certainly not the most powerful equipment in the deck, but
no, it's probably just going to absorb 2 damage here at some point.
Yeah.
But no, Jesse doesn't block either of the Diregraph Ghouls.
Just going to take the hit. 4. Falling to 14, and it looks like he's about to fall to 12 from a
if that's a messenger. I got a message for you. Take 2.
Yep. So Kennedy off to a very good start here. Germ token in for 1. And a Sword of Feast and Famine. Pro Black Sword theoretically good against this Black-Red Zombies deck, but I think Kennedy's start here has just been a little bit too fast. So that's a 7-ball. That'll drop him down to 5.
There's not, going to 5 if there's anything like a Blood Artist Fume Spitter that can...
He's going to take out the Germ token. And then Brimstone Volley for lethal.
Wow.
So, that was a pretty...
So I thought you said Black-Red Zombies was getting beat up today.
Well, I mean, a lot of that has to do with the amount of birthing pod decks that we've also had on camera, and that matchup is very difficult. I mean, Blade Splicer and Huntmaster the Fells, all those kind of creatures they're all those things are pretty rough to play against. In this matchup, I would much rather be on Kennedy's side of the board, because Robert's deck is a little bit slower and fidgety and is trying to set up its shop here. And those are the decks that are pretty easy to just kind of run over. Now, going to the sideboards here, what do we...
Well, Jesse Roberts in his sideboard has 4 Grand Abolishers, 2 Dispense Justice, 2 Kemba, Ka Regent, 1 Grafdigger's Cage, 1 Dismember, Rester Singletons here, Divine Offering, Revoke Existence, Torpor Orb, Spellskite, and Oblivion Ring.
So I like the Singleton Oblivion Ring. I like the Singleton Grafdigger Cage. I also like Kemba a lot in this matchup, because just a 2/4 is very good against zombies. I mean, the deck is all about trying to attack you with 2 1s and 2 2s and 3 2s. So
it's going to block the Messenger the first time and stick around, and then can trade. Oh, not quite trade.
But once you get equipment on it, it starts banging out all these 2 2s, and it's pretty hard to get through.
Kemba, so at the beginning of your upkeep, if she's equipped, you get a 2/2 cat token for each equipment attached to her.
So I would be happy to side in a 2/4 for 3 blank against zombies, like white 1 2/4. I would be happy to bring that card in, and Kemba obviously has the potential to be quite a bit better than that. Now on Kennedy's side of the table, he has 2 copies of Smelt, very good against a bunch of artifacts, clearly.
Which one do you destroy? Just anything?
Just whatever. Probably a green-black sword or a red-white sword would be my choice, but doesn't matter too much. He has 3 copies of Bonfire of the Dam, which can give him some work against some of his more difficult-to-kill creatures. He also has 2 copies of Skurstag High Priest. I played that card at the Invitational in Baltimore a couple months back. It definitely underperformed in general, but certainly against decks that are light on creature removal, it's very good. I mean, if you don't kill it, it's just...
So the High Priest is the morbid creature, the creature with the morbid that you can create 5/5 demon tokens by tapping it and 2 others if something died.
So it's a little hard to get set up because you have to have a board and then be able to kill something and have nothing go wrong. But if there's any sort of deck that's going to happen against, it's decks like Blue-White Pure Steel. Not a lot of creature removal.
Only really Mortar Pod, probably.
Right. Fairly and he has some dispatches, but basically very little in the way of creature removal, and enough fragile creatures where it's easy enough for you to play your own kill spell and then High Priest. I'm a little surprised that that Kennedy actually isn't playing Guest Verdict. I like the way that Guest Verdict and High Priest play really well, play together, because it doesn't matter what creature they have. Guest Verdict works against everything. So if all you're interested in doing is setting up the High Priest, then Guest Verdict is the best removal spell you can really have. Because you can get into positions where like they do have a creature, but it's, you know, Geist Insane Draft, and you can't use your Tragic Slip on it, or whatever the case.
Right.
Verdict works against everything.
And in this case, there's no Geist, but Jesse Roberts does have Invisible Stalker, which has hexproof.
So it looks like Roberts is taking a mulligan on the play. Kennedy looks content with his 7.
What is that pin that Quinn Kennedy is wearing? Is that...
I'm no pin aficionado.
Okay, I was just wondering, I thought it was one of the guild pins that we've seen floating around.
What do you mean the guild pins?
People have been getting pins with the guild symbols for Ravnica, for Return to Ravnica. It's kind of a preview, I think. Maybe it was for Magic Celebration today.
Oh, okay. What's your guild?
My guild, so when the quiz came out, I asked, well, what guild am I if I'm too arrogant to care about this quiz? And most people seem to say Demir, so I guess I'm Demir, because I was like, this quiz is not worth my time. And you, of course, Patrick Sullivan, is the Red Mage, so it must be one of the Red guilds. We'll talk about that a little later.
So first turn Flare Husk off of the mulligan from Roberts.
And Quinn has got a Black Cleave Cliffs again.
And a slip for the Germ.
Whoops. How does a Germ slip?
Dude, how does a Blight Mamba carry a Bone Splitter? There's all sorts of logical inconsistency.
Okay, so that Cavernous Soul is named something. I don't know if it's really relevant.
Human, well, I would presume. A lot of humans in this deck.
Okay, Stalker, Paladin, Mirran Crusader.
Yeah.
And a Mortar Pod, which is, wow, really good here, because all Quinn has on turn 2 is a Blood Artist.
So we're going to drain for 1, or 2 rather, sorry, because the Germ, both the Germ and the Blood Artist die. There's a Mox Opal. There's a single Mox Opal in the deck.
And he does have Metalcraft here, so wow, okay.
Ooh, fancy!
Plays the Glinthawk, returns Mortar Pod, replays Mortar Pod to rebuy his Germ token. This is a really good position for Jesse.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's a little low on power, but certainly that sequence was pretty good.
But that's one way that zombies can get back into it. Geralf's Messenger on turn 3.
The one powerful card in the deck. All right. Hawk's gonna battle for 3.
We've definitely got a Scars Limited kind of draw here. Glinthawk wearing a Flare Husk. I've done that plenty of times in draft.
There's a Go for the Throat here, which is a very nice draw. Allows him to get rid of the Glinthawk. Again, this is sort of the issue with the Pure Steel deck, is that in the absence of Pure Steel Paladin or one of your swords, the deck just doesn't do a lot of powerful stuff.
I mean, like I said, this is a limited draw, so that's not very powerful in a constructed environment.
And we have a second Messenger.
Yeah. Quinn attacks with the first one. Looks like it went through, and here comes the second.
It looks like he's still got Brimstone Volley waiting in the cut also. So yeah, this is just a rough spot for...
Yeah, now Jesse's thinking whether he wants to attack. Like, he might just want to sit back and trade. No, he says, I'll fly over for 3. Very hard to race here. Taps 2.
Another Mortar Pod. Mortarpod gets a lot worse in multiples. The second one, not nearly as good as the first one. And there's a Grafdigger's Cage.
Is that really useful?
It's good against Gravecrawler.
Okay.
It's not good in this spot. It's good against Gravecrawler.
It's not good in this spot.
I would bring in the one. He has one in the sideboard. I would bring it in. I mean,
might as well.
If you're not going to bring it in against zombies, I don't know why it's in the sideboard. So I guess he's somewhat committed.
Well, for Birthing Pod.
Oh, sure. I don't know. I don't like bringing in those kind of reactive cards against Pod, but...
All right, now Quinn's tapping the table, doing some math here, maybe. How much damage can I do?
It's a little complicated because he's got 2 chump blockers at the ready.
Right. A lot of it depends on whether Jesse tries to kill the messengers with Birthing Pods or just chump blocks them.
Yeah. And he's got go too, so I believe he's also weighing if it's worth trying to like get a blocker out of the way before combat, but
messengers both attack, and it looks like Jesse blocked both, one with each, and then used them both to take one out.
Yep. There's a Metamorph copying.
Copying the messenger.
I believe the Grafdigger's Cage there preventing the messenger from coming back from the Undying trigger.
Alright, so... suits up the Mortarpod to the Glinthawk. It is now a 3/4, but it does have a throat.
I actually don't like that play because Kennedy has Brimstone Volley in his hand, so if he untapped, he could do it all in one shot and just win the game this turn.
And get 5 more damage off the volley, yeah. But still, here, attack
he's in a super commanding position, but I think that if he just untapped and go for the throated right now, that he would actually be attacking for lethal this turn. Because he has no way to get the Morbid trigger to fire off this turn.
Yeah.
Just draw another messenger is fine, I suppose. Like, it doesn't matter too much.
3 messengers and a Phyrexian Metamorph copying a messenger.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misread the artwork. That was a pillar. Pillar got
mental misstep. Jesse does have 2 mental missteps in this deck. But
the artwork on some of these cards with similar mechanics, then there's a concession.
He had Mox Opal for blue. Okay. Yeah.
Pretty lopsided 2-0 victory there for Kennedy. I wish that similar cards, like that had similar mechanics, the art direction was a little bit different from them sometimes because it's hard to...
The colors